There's a place over 200 million kilometers away from us, a frozen, rust-colored wasteland, scarred by ancient rivers and silent craters. They told us it's lifeless, but in 1984, the CIA asked a man to describe it, not using satellites, telescopes, or probes. They asked him to sit quietly, close his eyes, and see it. He wasn't a scientist, he wasn't an astronaut. He was a remote viewer. And his target? Mars. 1 million years in the past. What he described was impossible. Or at least, it should have been. He spoke of pyramids, of tall beings, of a dying civilization, of a planet that had once lived and now clung to memory. This isn't a sci-fi film. This is a real declassified CIA document. Welcome back to the Cherrywood Conspiracy Files. I'm just a random guy. No credentials, no fame. Just someone digging into the stuff they never wanted you to think too hard about. Simon and Rachel are off living their normal lives, probably filming someone's wedding and making memories that will last forever. Meanwhile, I'm here trying to remember memories that were never mine. Or maybe they were ours all along. Let's go back a few decades, back to the Cold War. It was a time of nuclear tension and technological brinksmanship. The US and the Soviet Union weren't just racing to build bigger bombs. They were racing to unlock the power of the human mind. The Americans found out the Soviets were pouring money into something strange: parapsychology, psychic research, ESP, telekinesis. And so the CIA, being the CIA, decided if the Soviets were doing it, they'd better do it too. That's how Project Stargate was born. For years, the US government trained and studied people who claimed they could leave their bodies and see distant places, times, and even events. They called it remote viewing, and it wasn't treated like nonsense. It was a military asset, used to locate hostages, find hidden bases, gather intelligence. Some of the results, terrifyingly accurate. Others, completely off. But one name kept coming up among those considered the best: Joseph McMoneagle. By the time 1984 rolled around, he was already known as Remote Viewer 001. On one particular day, he was given a sealed envelope. He didn't open it. He wasn't allowed to know what was inside. Instead, he was told this: "Focus on the coordinates I'm about to give you. Move your awareness to the time period approximately 1 million years ago." That's it. No further information, just numbers and a target date. McMoneagle entered a light meditative state and began to speak. What came next was transcribed by a CIA monitor. He immediately reported a yellow, dusty atmosphere, towering structures, pyramids, he called them. A series of tall, thin beings, weak, ancient, dying. He described an energy crisis, a sense of devastation, massive environmental collapse. He said they were trying to escape, that they'd sent some of their people away to a distant place, hoping to survive. He spoke about their technology, the silence in the air, the loneliness. One of the beings, he said, was in a kind of deep sleep, waiting to be awakened or rescued. This wasn't some dream or free association exercise. McMoneagle was known for precision. His words were deliberate. He believed completely that what he saw was real. Now here's where it gets even stranger. In 1976, 8 years before this session, NASA's Viking 1 orbiter took a series of photographs of Mars' surface. One of those photos showed a massive mesa that, under the right light and shadow, looked unmistakably like a human face. A face on Mars. Other structures around it, some symmetrical, some pyramid-like, formed patterns that many said resembled the layout of the Giza Plateau in Egypt. NASA later dismissed the face as an illusion, a trick of light and shadow on natural rock. But people weren't convinced, especially when enhanced images began showing angles, dimensions, and shadows that were difficult to explain. McMoneagle's viewing described features that years later matched satellite imagery from that exact region, even though he never knew that was the target. Coincidence? Maybe. But let's go deeper. He claimed the structures were part of an ancient Martian civilization. He said they were millions of years old, even by Martian standards. He saw evidence of travel, of planetary migration. He felt sadness, silence, collapse. And more than that, he sensed the Martians weren't entirely gone. Some were waiting. Not alive, but not quite dead. Suspended, hidden, preserved. He described sleeping chambers, shielded from storms, from destruction. And then he saw it, a green, lush planet. He said it was their destination. He didn't say Earth. He didn't have to. Let's pause here. A government-trained psychic sees ancient ruins on Mars. He describes tall beings, pyramids, and a planetary disaster. He talks about a desperate escape, a mission to another world. And he does this without knowing he's even targeting Mars. It sounds like science fiction, but it's printed, word for word, on a real CIA transcript. So the question is, was McMoneagle really seeing something? Or was it all in his head? And if it was just imagination, how do we explain the accuracy of his descriptions? There are people who believe this wasn't imagination at all. They believe McMoneagle tapped into something deep, ancient, hidden. Not just memories stored in the Martian dust, but memories buried in us. They believe we've forgotten who we really are, that our species didn't evolve here, that we arrived, escaped, survived. And if that's true, then we didn't just inherit Earth. We inherited someone else's trauma, someone else's extinction. And we've been reliving the end of a world that wasn't originally ours. So, here's the theory. Not the fringe version, but the core of it. Mars once had life. That life collapsed. Some of it came here. And 1 million years later, we're still dreaming about it. So if Mars once had life, and if that life fled, the obvious next question is, what if we're the result? Not a side project, not a mutation, but the legacy of a dying civilization. The theory isn't new, but it's louder now. That humans are not entirely of Earth. That something, someone, came here long ago and merged with the native life, guided it, shaped it, or replaced it. Think about it. Every culture has stories of visitors from the sky. Gods, beings of light, wielding knowledge, teaching language, maths, architecture, helping early humans build with precision we still can't explain. They were always described as tall, otherworldly, wise. And then suddenly, they were gone. We're told those are just myths, but if you strip away the poetry, what are we really looking at? Ancient people trying to describe a memory passed down through DNA. It's a weird idea, but not as weird as what some scientists are starting to consider, that there are sequences in human DNA that don't quite fit. A few researchers, some controversial, some respected, have pointed out that roughly 8% of our genome is made up of what's called non-coding or junk DNA. And buried inside some of that are sequences that seem edited, like someone added something, deliberately. Most mainstream geneticists dismiss that. They say evolution isn't clean, it's messy, and that randomness often looks like design. But others argue it is designed, because it wasn't random. It was a survival blueprint from another world. And then there's the really wild angle.
That what McMoneagle accessed in 1984 wasn't a vision of a real place at all, but a buried memory inside himself. A memory passed down through the human species, all the way from the Martians who arrived here. Remote viewing, in this theory, isn't just psychic travel, it's ancestral recall. Like suddenly remembering your great-great-grandfather's last breath, even though you never met him. Only this memory isn't from your family, it's from your species. A species that didn't start here. That would explain why McMoneagle felt so emotional. Why he described the Martians not just as other, but as familiar. He didn't say they were aliens. He said they were desperate, intelligent, sad. He saw them. But maybe he saw us. Since the release of that session, dozens of modern remote viewers, amateur and trained, have tried to revisit those same Martian coordinates. And disturbingly, they report similar experiences. Some describe identical structures. Others report contact. A few even claim that the Martian consciousness is still out there. Not physical anymore, but suspended, aware. Somewhere between time and space, still waiting to be awakened. There are even cases where viewers say they felt something looking back at them. That when they opened the psychic door, something was on the other side. Not a vision, not a scene, a presence. Something that knew they were there. And sometimes, it followed them back. Of course, these are anecdotal, unverified. But when unrelated people, decades apart, describe the same decaying pyramids, the same atmosphere, the same emotions, you have to ask, are they all imagining the same thing? Or are they remembering it? Here's the thing. The idea of a Martian origin doesn't just exist in dusty government files. It lives in our stories. The Hopi speak of the ant people, beings who helped them survive a world-ending catastrophe. Aboriginal myths describe sky ancestors who seeded life. The Dogon tribe of Mali claimed they were visited by beings from a star system they couldn't have possibly known existed. It's everywhere. Whispers from the past, from the stars, from the red sands. Some believe Earth wasn't the first choice, that it was Plan B, a refugee camp, a restart. But what if the trauma of that exodus never truly left us? What if that deep human fear, the fear of collapse, of abandonment, of environmental disaster, comes from a memory we've been carrying for 1 million years? A warning, echoing across time, and we've ignored it. Now here's the final turn. What if that 1984 session wasn't supposed to be found? Yes, it's declassified. Yes, it's available. But why? Was it a mistake? Or a test? One theory says the CIA allowed the file out intentionally. To see who noticed. To track who showed interest. Because if remote viewing really works, if the mind can reach across time and space, then it isn't just about spying on enemies. It's about control, of memory, of belief, of truth, and maybe of whatever's still out there. Because if the beings McMoneagle saw are still waiting, still dreaming, then the real question isn't, are we alone? It's, are we being watched? Or worse, are we being remembered? So here's what we're left with. A government project that used psychic spies. A transcript that describes an ancient Martian civilization. A sudden sharp alignment with modern remote viewers and ancient myths. And a growing sense that we've forgotten something important. Something big. Something red. Dusty. And dying. But not dead. So do you believe it? Is remote viewing real? Is Mars hiding a past it can't speak anymore? Are we the survivors of a planet we destroyed and then forgot? Or is it all Cold War theater? A mind game to distract us from something even darker? Whatever the truth is, one man in 1984 saw something. And no matter what the skeptics say, he never doubted it. He didn't flinch. He didn't crack. He simply closed his eyes and remembered. And maybe you will too. In a dream, in a flash, in that strange feeling when you look up at the stars and feel homesick for somewhere you've never been. Because maybe you have been. And maybe you're not imagining Mars at all. Maybe you're remembering it. Let's be clear. Much of what you've just heard is based on theories, declassified transcripts, and claims made by remote viewers and researchers. Some of it is speculative. Some of it is supported by real documents. And some of it, still unexplained. The CIA's remote viewing programs, including Project Stargate, were real. The Mars session, dated May 22, 1984, is publicly available via the CIA's electronic reading room under the file name Mars Exploration, Coordinate Remote Viewing Session. The viewer, believed to be Joseph McMoneagle, described the Martian landscape as it may have existed 1 million years ago. Whether it was imagination, psychic ability, or ancestral recall, we'll leave that for you to decide. The Cherrywood Conspiracy Files is part of the Cherrywood podcast hosted by Simon and Rachel Burridge. You can catch their full episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you get your strange. For business inquiries, sponsorship, or to appear on the Cherrywood podcast, visit www.cherrywoodpro.com. And until next time, keep asking questions, keep your feet on the ground, and maybe, just maybe, keep your third eye open.
Club Awesome, for autistic children and their families, a place where everyone belongs and fun knows no age limit.
Today's sponsors are Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com.
Right at Home Medway, providers of safe and trusted quality care for adults in the comfort of their own home. Whether you need companionship, medication assistance, personal care, living care or more, we've got you covered. Visit rightathome.co.uk/medway or call them on 01634 979 000. Are you looking for a cleaning or facilities management? Clearwater Kent is your trusted local expert. From roofs and driveway cleaning to fully facilitated management, they're a fully licensed, award-winning business that you can count on. Visit clearwaterkent.co.uk or call 01634 681 885.
Need stunning video or photography for your big day or even your business? Cherrywood Production delivers award-winning results with a personal touch. From weddings to promotional content, we turn your vision into reality. Visit cherrywoodpro.com today. Your memories, our passion. Put your business in front of 30,000 new customers with the Hindsight Directory. This A5 full-colour magazine is delivered by Royal Mail to Maidstone, Gravesend, Medway and Bromley, with more areas to come. Visit hindsightdirectory.co.uk.
New Digital, helping businesses build their online presence with web design, SEO, Google Ads and social media. Get 10% off when you quote Cherrywood today. Visit their website at nudigitalera.co.uk.